Hello everyone and welcome. It is round number 8 of the MRC Cup Series. We are at the same place that we were the last time. We are here at Charlotte Motor Speedway, but this time we have kind of messed up the track a little bit. We've added a little bit of kinks and turns here and there, and we've just absolutely ruined that backstretch that everyone loves. So race 8 of the season, just approaching halfway here after this one. And it's the first race of the Road Course Cup. As you can see, this is the first road course of the season, the first time they will take these cars and they will turn right. And we have yet again another co-commentator in the booth. Unfortunately, did not make this race, but he said that he would like to commentate for this one, and that is Mr. DJ Curtis.
Yeah, honored to be here. Ideally, like you said, I probably would rather be on the track. I mean, right now, what am I sitting? 42nd in points, so I'm kind of down in the trenches right now. But the Roval obviously changing configuration, so should expect a lot of twists and turns and updated kinks more or less. But should be very highly on the track position. That's gonna be a big thing here. Obviously, you need a good pit crew, really execute, determining whether the undercut or the overcut will be the way to go here. But attrition could be another thing, though. Could see a lot of stack ups, especially when it comes to those high braking zones, though. A lot to look forward to in this race, though. But good starts, though, for the number 38, who's sitting on the front row, essentially.
Yeah, Allison Figueroa getting their first pole of the season, and qualifying worked just a little bit differently for this race. We actually kind of had some sort of a knockout qualifying system, as you would see in like Formula One, for example. We had two groups of the drivers go out on track separated by their owner's points or driver's points, because no one has substituted for anybody quite yet in the season. Hope no one has had to, and hopefully no one will have to because of injury or anything. But yeah, nonetheless, we've split the field up, and then the top 10 times overall were then put into a top 10 shootout. And then Allison Figueroa ended up walking away. I think in both sessions, I think they got top in their in the first group qualifying, and then they ended up getting top in the top 10 shootout. And that put them P1 at this race. And I mentioned the Road Course Cup. It's just a mini championship within the season. Just the 4 road course races that we have back to back to back in this little middle part of the season here. That'll determine who ends up getting the most road course upgrades for their cars next year, and potentially who would be the most talented road course drivers coming out of the first season. And that could play a very big part in the next season's road course cup, as just overall ramifications for the championship in general for the whole season long one. And so far, it's so good for that 38 Toyota, but starting next to them is Tickle, not too far off their time in qualifying, putting that number 82 Swisher Sweets Ford P2 on the board, and Dick Hare sitting pretty comfortable in the team standings as well, only 8 points behind Alpha Connolly, so pretty good run for their team standings there as well.
And really, those top two guys coming into this race, right, that are just sitting well in the front row, they are pretty far down the points. Figueroa, 30th in points. Testicle, 25th. So they're kind of bordering that LCQ kind of boundary. So it'd be nice for them, in their perspective, to get a really good run out of the hat, right? You want to really extend and really be more comfortable, because Figueroa is only like 3 points ahead of AJ Jones. Carlos Mendez is also a little bit of a distance back, as well as Dane Stinson. So, I mean, you really want to just keep yourself a little bit more comfortable at coming out of this. You want a really good point stay. A win would really be the icing to the cake.
Yeah, last week Figueroa ended up getting 2 spots, and that put them 30th in the point standings, which, of course, that guarantees them a spot into the race. So, with starting on the pole here today, it's a very good position to start from to get that done, as the field has got the command, and we are rolling here underway as we will get, it is a little bit longer of a pace lap, so we'll give you a little bit of a rundown on this track. Charlotte Roval, of course, it's just using the oval that you know and love, and we've just added a couple turns here. As you see right here, just a few turns into the infield. 2.8 or 2.28 miles. It's a mixed infield road course with the oval, and we're going to go 50 laps today. That's roughly 200 kilometers, which gives us the race title of the Roval 200k. And as we'll take a quick look at the point situation before we really get too far into this field as well. Seth Cole, of course, still your points leader through 8 races, or through 7 races before this one. Has only started 6th, but pretty healthy points lead over Nathan Kiani. with a 14-point gap over him at the moment. But as we take a dive back through the field here, once again, not starting in the best of positions here as they start 30th. As we'll try to go through the field up front here for a quick moment, just so we can give the traditional starting lineup. Of course, Allison Figueroa and Testicle here first row. Michael Sweeney and Amy Scazzato, row number 2. Jacques Decock and Blake Warren make up row number 3. And see if DJ, if you can get a couple more off the board here for me.
Yeah, Hernandez and Roberto Crown Jr. will start 7th, 8th. Sustry and Murphy will be in 9th and 10th. That rounds out your top 10. I don't know how long we can get for the pace lap here, so we'll probably just cut it off there, and the rest you'll probably see as a separate graphics as we go here, though. But Nathan Keani sitting 2nd in points is starting in 13th, so keep an eye on that. Really good opportunity to really pounce with Seth Cole way far down the order.
Yeah, for sure, as we did a quick flyby through the field, I'm sure you'll see your favorite driver if you looked hard enough there, as we always have the scrolling starting lineup at the bottom, and potentially some fancy graphics if the Cox team is feeling it. It is the last race for Cox Sports, as we will go to CTESPN after this week. But we are going to go green for the last time on Cox Sports. Allison Figueroa is going to lead the field through the first road course of the season. They're going to take a familiar left-hand turn, but after that, it's going to be pretty much all new for these drivers.
A lot of them are already cutting it close, though. It looked really jank on that start. A lot of them are already starting to spread out, and maybe some are maybe trying to jump a little bit here, but already great side-by-side action, several rows deep. The battle for the lead already heating up here. Figueroa and Testicle going at it here. Testicle inside, Figueroa outside here. Let's see which run will be the most efficient out of the two. Ooh, looks really close here. The left-hander will kick in. Let's see. That outside run could also come into play. Let's take a look.
Yeah, we'll see if the outside run off the corner. I'm not too sure because they're kind of at a lower speed coming out of that corner. It looks like Allison Figueroa holding on strong, leading through lap number 1, or at least to this part of lap number 1 here. But, of course, the 82 and everyone else behind are really going to be gunning for it. Something important to mention that I didn't note with the Road Course Cup Championship is the top 21 drivers will receive points for that, and the fastest lap will receive an extra point as long as they are within those top 21 drivers. So half the field will receive extra bonus points. Doesn't count towards the overall championship, but it will count towards the Road Course Cup. And we have a yellow flag already. It looks like Skylar.
Big damage.
Skylar Taylor must have been involved in that one, it looks like. As everyone else looks like they made it up pretty clean there. As we are going to stack them back up once again. As it looks like the 15 of Skylar Taylor must have posed a danger on the racetrack. As normally, just any one-on-one contact here probably wouldn't warrant much of a yellow flag, but for lap number 1, it looks like we're going to bring them to a halt and we're going to re-rack them and get them going single file. But let's take a look and see what happened to Skylar Taylor to bring out caution number 1 here at the Roval. Alright, taking a look at what brought out caution number 1 here at the Roval. You see Skylar Taylor here, of course the car that we mentioned that was involved. Going through that backstretch chicane there. Quick left to right. And they are just going to get a little wide and just clip the wall. And that gets them into Victor Nunez, and it's enough to spin their rear end into the wall over there. And honestly, I thought it was going to be a lot worse than what it was, but it looks like the officials, maybe there's a bit of debris on the track, because I mean they did lose quite a hefty bit of their back end. Which,
I mean, Ro's got no back end left though.
That makes a lot more sense when I think about it that way, as opposed to when I look before the slow-mo replay. But yeah,
I think it's, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but it does come to like a testament that sometimes drivers get way too greedy, right? You test the limits of how you can really push your car, and you test the boundaries. Well, found a track limit there in a physical manner with the inside wall, and that ended up being the consequence of the 15 car as a result of the opening lap too. You don't really want to get too aggressive on the first lap, despite it being, you know, everybody bunched up together, because you got to think big picture at the end of the day too.
Alright, back at the Roval, pace car pulling off, and not really much has changed here. The field's a little spread out back there. I'm not too sure if they want to be that spread out coming to the green, but Allison Figueroa once again going to lead them to the green flag, restarting on lap number 4. Another good restart for that 38, and this time single file, so a little less work for the field to do, but I mean that 38 has looked pretty strong so far.
And you saw Squizzato go a little bit wide there, nearly against the wall. Blake Warren going to try and make a move on the outside line, but watch that 35 maybe try and be a little bit advantageous, but the 99 said otherwise. Real tight there, almost on the quarter panel there.
Yeah, I thought Jock was going to spin Blake out there real quick, and that just opens up the door for Luis Hernandez, but of course 2 left-handers going back onto the track. Being on the outside in this part of the track has not been too advantageous for some people, as we've seen, at least with the first part of the run, where cars are still kind of getting up to speed here a little bit, maybe later on. Or maybe somebody with a little less spoiler on the car can make that line work coming out of that corner. But, yep, for now, seems like inside is preferred line going through there. Let's take a bit look back towards the front, and Figueroa at least a pretty strong first little lap off the line to see if they keep it green and see how this race develops a little bit. Looks like Luis is actually going to lose quite a number of spots because of that little move there. Berto Crown with a bit of rear end damage. Someone might have got into him under yellow. Oh, Luis is throwing it though.
Ooh, man. When you're side by side though, you don't want to be that for like way too long, because it just creates a little bit of an accordion effect, and that'll bring other drivers behind you to really try and challenge. So if you're defending, you gotta kind of be a little bit careful here. But I mean, obviously you want to hold your position with the points mattering for a good reason. But what a great defense from the 99 here. Great stuff from Luis Hernandez. But let's see that 12, little bit of a run into the corner, really out of the corner. Couldn't really do much there, but able to fend off for the time being.
Yeah, and Luis Hernandez coming into this race with 3 straight DNFs, with a 41st and a 42nd in his last 2 races, and just falling down the points table, losing 11 spots last week at the oval version of this track. So it really needs a pretty big bounce back week. They're sitting 23rd in points, and losing 11 spots would not guarantee them a spot at the next road course at Road America to to just continue the championship campaign. So definitely needs a good finish here today. Take another look back towards the front. Looks like Figueroa just going to keep on driving. Doesn't look like much competition, at least for this portion of the race for them so far. Let's head back through the field here, see if we can pick a battle out of the crowd as they come into this ever tight front stretch chicane here. Much tighter than the back stretch. So, taking a look at Spike Stinson here. It's pretty towards the front in the point standings. He was second at one point. I think he slipped down to third behind Nathan Kiani. Looking for a pretty good run here today to capitalize on Seth Cole, but not too far behind him.
Yeah, and Spike Stinson sits third in points though, 33 points back. Average finish 15.14. You think of like Seth Cole, right? One less start, his average finish, this is a crazy stat to think about, 5.67, despite an average start of 21st, essentially. That is one of those amazing stats you look at. So consistent, 3 top 5s to his 5 top 10s. It is no wonder why Seth's been in a different zip code so far, despite only a 14-point advantage over Kiani.
He's only had one finish outside of the top 10, and I believe that was a 14th place, and that was after his win at Homestead. So I mean, like, Seth has just been on an absolute tear, and he just finds a way to just rip through the field whenever he feels like it. Like you said, his qualifying really hasn't been the best, but when he needs to turn it up, he absolutely does. And that was a 13th at Atlanta, excuse me. But yeah, I mean, he's like just a menace, and we'll see if he's able to find some spots here at the road course. It is going to be a little more difficult for him to do that. I mean, at Charlotte, I can't even remember where he started. I think it was 34th, and he ended up finishing like 3rd or 4th at that race, just off the tire strategy and just playing the long game. And that's just something that Seth Cole's very good at doing, and I mean, it's kind of rubbing off on his team here on Dick Hare Racing, as you see 2 cars inside the top 10 at the moment, even if Seth Cole's not. I mean, these other cars are performing, and that could be the difference in the team championship for them. As the next team rival, in terms of the points, it would be Alpha Connolly. Is leading the standings would be Joey Murphy in the 10th spot back there.
Murphy's in need of a pretty good run. Sitting 21st. Still pretty like comfy above that top 30 line, but definitely wanting to get some momentum to go your way. Gained 2 spots in the points coming off the preceding round, so it's looking pretty. It's like a lot of high spirits for this Target Chevrolet.
Yeah, only the one top 10 on the season at Darlington so far, but I mean, he followed it up with a not too bad finish directly after that with an 18th at Charlotte. Probably could have got more out of it, but I mean, he's still performing well for that race team. But like you said, he probably would like to be a little bit more comfortable in the point standings. He was outside of the LCQ zone at some point, but now up to 21st and trying to just hold it down for his Alpha Conway team here. As we are through starting 8 laps here at the Roval, and Figueroa has led every single one of them from the point. Of course, they were looking the fastest in qualifying, but speaking of points in being the fastest, let's take a look and see who has our fastest lap, as that does actually matter in these road course races. And that right now belongs to Luis Hernandez, who would be gaining the extra point for the fastest lap as long as he finishes in the top 21. And he still has the fastest lap. He will get that extra point. As I mentioned, 1st through 21st will get a certain amount of points for the road course championship. Which again, it doesn't count towards the overall. Like, none of those add to the overall points. It's just kind of a little for fun in-season thing.
Yeah, Murphy just got around Blake Warren there. I think that 88 really starting to slow down a lot here. The pace just isn't quite there. He might have used all his stuff up here because look at how many cars are just passing him left and right here.
I think
maybe even having an issue perhaps because it's not the pace.
He has an issue. Yeah, there's something wrong with that 88 car. There's got to be something wrong with Blake. I mean, he just dropped like a rock there. I think that was Gabriel Homo who that group of cars that just passed him, that was 11th place, but Blake's still hanging on. Maybe, might have lost a cylinder. I'm not sure if the car sounds any different.
Oh man, look at them all cut that curve there, but it's just causing a huge stack up right behind him though. Look at that, he's just sitting duck out there.
And Blake, such a good position in points at the moment too. This is not what he wants to see. Especially with a car outside of the points, too, as a team owner. I mean, it's not a good week for him at the moment.
Yeah, it's just, look at how many cars are just there. They're all wadded up together. It's just like a whole wolf pack of them.
It's a miracle no one's just punted him out of the way yet.
He's starting to get a little bit out of the way here, because you just see the 9 and the 00. They're just about to get around him quite easily here, and just watch us see the difference in the straight line speed. I don't know if that will be a real indicator here, but let's take a look here. Watch that 45 compared to that of the 88 here. I think it's going to be difference between night and day here.
He went from 6th to 14th that last lap. Yeah, as you see, they're just
Markdale getting around him.
Stinson
now.
Yeah, they're all just going to have to get around him as fast as they can. Let's see, Cam Vanderhorst. Another Misfit Motorsports cars. We mentioned those guys earlier. He's in need of a pretty good finish here today.
Yeah, look at that 52. There's Seth Cole, and there's the guy we've been looking
And Blake is staying
to.
out, which is, I don't know. Is he? Oh, I think Reynolds moved him out of the way. I think Reynolds is a little bit tired of this.
Yep, here's Seth. He's going to go right to the inside here. Ryan Jasper's going to follow on toe. Yeah, I think they're probably keeping Blake out a couple laps just to maybe diagnose the issue. That might be the only other reason I could think why he's staying out on track. But it's evident that there's definitely an issue with something with the power in the car. So, because why else would it fall off? Either that or the other option would be again, probably wasted his tires. But even with that, you'd think he'd at least still be within the top 10, maybe top 15 range, but he is just again continuing to drop.
I don't think it would be this drastic if it was just tires. I think there's got to be some sort of power issue. Like I said, I'm sure we'll hear it over the radio maybe at some point, or once they get it into the pits and actually diagnose what it is. I'm sure we'll know. But yeah, he is just sinking like a rock through the field. I'm sure that'll continue, and hopefully we don't miss a yellow if he were to bring one out by it just being slows. We'll just take a quick little update towards the front, as it looks like Figueroa has just completely checked out at this point in the race. 16 laps through it. Probably just hoping that Blake doesn't bring out a yellow at the moment, as I'm sure they just love to kind of just drive naturally to the tire and the fuel run, which, if I'm remembering right, through practice, I think they said fuel might go about 35 to 40 laps, so they can stretch it deep. It's just, whenever they'd like the pit to get the fresh rubber on, essentially, is the main concern. Just and then getting a little bit of a splash in there. As you see, gap has increased to 2 seconds, as it's still the same main players up here. As we still got Testicle, Michael Sweeney, and Emmy Scazzato, who, whenever they have finished the races, which they got 4 DNFs on the season, they made every race so far, but whenever they have finished, it's been 12th or better. So looking to continue that streak if they can finish this race, which would be very good for them. Fourth place finish there, if they can get that. It's Shock the Cock, teammate of Testicle, still hanging on in 5th. Fastest lap still belonging to Luis Hernandez, so still hanging on to that that bonus point towards the Road Course Cup. Top 10 kind of staying relatively the same.
A little bit of a stack up of these 3 cars, little group here between Luis Hernandez, Roberto Crown Jr., and the number 12 there. They're just kind of just on their own little island. Kyle Sustry and sitting in 26th in the standings, though. Good points day for him, actually, running in the top 10.
Yeah, good run here for Beacon Penske. Unfortunately, Bobby Jones, I'd say probably their strongest driver that's been shown this year, not making this race. And I know this is a race that Jones would really have loved to have made. And kind of just a result of a domino effect from what happened in Atlanta to that race team. Getting taken out by Eric DeMax. Of course, they served the penalty, but you know, DeMax literally won every single one of the penalized points back the very next race. So didn't really matter much, so I'm sure they're not too happy about that. But yeah, that sent that 39 team back below the 30th place position in points, and that caused them not to make this race here today. But Sustry, of course, part team owner, really trying to do what they can here, trying to get that team points up a little bit just so they can kind of hang their hat on something here. But Figueroa in the points table at the, or not Figueroa, Sustry in the points table at the moment. See if I can find them here really quick.
26, by the way.
There you go.
Little, help you out there.
I got them color coded, and they weren't. It wasn't black. It was pink. So I was looking for all the black names on the table, and yeah, didn't see this one, but yeah, I appreciate that. Tied with Testicle, interestingly enough, who's second in the race at the moment. Blake Warren, it looks like he might have found something.
I think they diagnosed the issue there. I think they got it fixed, though. Granted, they're probably on new tires because I don't see them in the leaderboard. They're probably way down the order. Yep,
oh, yeah.
41st.
And it looks like Cam Vanderhorst, it looks like they retired with some sort of issue as well.
Might have had been a mechanical gremlin, it seems.
Yeah, we didn't catch that, but man, Vanderhorst, that's going to be their 3rd DNF of the season on top of the 2 DNQs they already have. So Misfit Motorsports, it seems like it's one car or another out of those 3. I don't think those 3 have finished the race cleanly at all together, at least. And yeah, 38 has once again moved their lead back up to 3 seconds. So I think they're just managing these tires perfectly. So they're gonna end up catching up to. Oh, never mind. That 15 passed them not long ago.
Oh yeah, went for that late dive earlier, right? It's already, you can already tell the difference between tires. It's night as day, more or less. What the saying goes, right?
Night and day.
You can already tell. You already can tell the difference there. Couple stragglers, you know, back here. Pretty much a lot of stagnation in terms of where the track position is aligned right now.
Yeah, of course, those Fords that we mentioned a handful of times still pretty much in the same order. The aforementioned Twistin Wilhoit from last week was pretty damaged. He got some familiar front
Caution's
and back
out.
end. Yep, caution is out.
I wonder what it's for.
Yeah, so we're not seeing anything at the moment.
Not sure what it is.
I'm sure we'll find out soon enough, but we'll see the race back to the line here as I'm sure the pace car will meet our leader here. And yeah, caution is out. Lap number 29. Alison Figueroa once again sitting behind the pace car, and I'm sure, you know, well, I'm actually not too sure how they feel about this. Maybe they wanted this, but I mean, they were maintaining a pretty healthy gap there. But nevertheless, let's see what brought out caution number 2 here at the Roval. Hopefully it's not anything too crazy, but either way, these guys are going to have to pit, and that might be the last one they have to make all race. Alright, caution number 2, and I'm kind of surprised that we didn't end up catching this one. Jacques Decock bringing it into the backstretch chicane, and just a little bit too much power, I'm guessing. I'm not too sure what happened there. They just got the curb, and that causes Luis to get into him and Roberto Crown to stop on the track, and just sitting middle of the track there is a little bit of a danger as he takes a little bit of time to get this thing back going again. And yeah, looks like that is when they threw out the yellow, so just a little bit too much of a danger on the racetrack that looked like, but he got it back going again as Jacques Lecoq will lose a handful of positions, but this will stack the field back up once again, and we will get going for the second restart of the race. We'll see how the pit strategy works out, and we'll see if the 38 once again takes the lead in this one, as we should be getting back going here pretty soon. Alright, back at Charlotte once again. This is going to be restart number 2 for the second caution. Blake Warren is not your leader. It is RJ Reynolds, who actually ended up pitting 2 laps before that caution came out. So a hell of a strategy play there. Of course, they didn't know what was going to happen, but you know, well, you got in the situation you're in, so you might as well take advantage of it. RJ Reynolds and Blake Warren are going to lead them to the green. Blake is going to hopefully get his lap back if another caution comes out. That's pretty much what he's praying for. Tristan Allen and Dylan Connolly as well exercising that same strategy, but it looks like Connolly might get ran over here. Oh, nearly hitting the wall.
Real close shave there, but not really. If you're the 38 team, that caution was not what you wanted, because now really set in a very compromised position, because now Testicle can make a dive right to the inside, but might shut the door there. Great defending right from the 38.
Oh, and look who's up here.
Not too far behind. Oh, Skylar Taylor. What a comeback, too.
Look who's up here in the top 10, Skylar Taylor.
And with no back end, too.
Yeah, for real.
That's crazy.
And they, remember when they pit super early. And they were on the lead lap because they passed the leader. Because they passed Allison Figueroa. So that's one freaking hell of a strategy play. They're still behind Figueroa on track, but
it makes that dive look like a genius move, you know, a high IQ play, you know.
Yeah, like at first we thought that was just incredibly dumb to make a dive like that, but I mean, it got them the track position, and that puts them in a position potentially to win this race if they have the car to do it. I don't know if they do. I'd have to look at the queue times really to see. I can't even remember where they started, but I'd have to look and see how viable that would be. But meanwhile, Blake Warren out here, he's just gonna have to run away for his life. I'm not sure if he's 1 or 2 down. Oh, he's actually on the lead lap at the moment, so
yep, tail end.
Yeah, so he could very well get his lap back here if RJ decides to play nice with him. Which, I don't know, maybe Chevy Alliance there. Potentially, I'm not too sure. Meanwhile, Tristan Allen mentioned those misfit cars, just kind of hit or miss like a minefield, whether or not they actually qualify for a race or not. Both this 27 and 24. As he DNQ'd the last race, of course, having a pretty awful wreck in Atlanta, just getting obliterated. But here he is once again, running in the top 5. Really getting that win at Darlington. I mean, he was close to it. He got a 4th place. So this 27, when he's up here, he's got the pace to get it done. And currently sitting P2. If that 69 gets stuck behind Blake Warren, he could be in prime position to win this race. And we mentioned Connolly being down in the field and finding his way into the top 10 points. Well, this is exactly how he does it. Moves like what he just did there with the pit strategy, just working in his favor. And now he's ahead of arguably the car to beat this race.
Oh, for sure. And, you know, if you're those guys that jumped them on pit road, you gotta run away or really just maintain that track position. And also just hope that the dirty air factor is a big thing too, because you can have a real faster car, more or less. But when you're stuck behind someone, it is just so hard to just make a nice little overtake, because the car just tightens up, it understeers like crazy, right? You just got to get a little bit creative to make those moves. Like Joey Murphy right now, he's trying to experiment with the outside line here, maybe get that drive off on Luis Hernandez.
And we've seen this outside line, oh my god, this outside line is usually the one to go with, because it puts you into the 2 left-handers back onto the racetrack here. And he was setting that move up from turn 1. That's how crazy road racing can be. That's how many corners ahead you have to think. You have to put yourself in a position to be in a really bad part of the track sometimes, just so you can get it back on 1 turn later. Just 1 turn on the track that you're hunting for that line, and Joey Murphy did just that. I've been really impressed with Joey this season.
Out of shape. For a moment, I thought the 99 was about to get turned off the bumper. Roberto Crown Jr. He looked really out of shape there.
And these two have been locked to each other pretty much all race in terms of the lap times and in terms of just on-track positioning. And Hernandez still with the fastest lap. Connolly nearly dethroning him by about half a tenth there. So that's
real close.
Something to keep an eye on there. We could potentially have somebody in the back snipe that away from him. Because the point only goes to the top 21 drivers if they were to get it. Or whoever that driver would be in the top 21, I should say. Not all of them get it. But yeah, I mean, Road Course Cup, I don't think RJ or Tristan was anywhere close to being where they were in terms of track positioning now. And this could set them up for road course racing next year, depending on who ends up returning to their cars next season. I'm sure Kevin Shearer would love to have RJ Reynolds back in this machine.
Oh, 38 making a move. I just saw him make
yep.
a move.
That's
right
the line you want to be on, too. It seems like this inside line in NASCAR 1 and 2 here is where you need to be. Is he going to get it done here?
Let's see what Connolly will respond. It's going to be really tight here.
I don't think so.
Real.
Oh, and he gets out of shape. Oh, and Connolly listen. Oh, we got multiple cars
sitting behind them.
Oh, but they keep it green.
Interesting. They kept it green though. When you look at the reason the caution came out was because of a very similar instance. Oh my goodness, threatened the needle there. How about
that? Oh my God, they're 3 wide. I think it's because all the cars were straight. The 35 did take some time to get back going. Oh my God, they might wreck now though.
Still 3 wide. Oh, this is real.
I think.
Tight.
Oh my God, trouble. Nick Breeding and Luis Hernandez. Hernandez had the fastest car all race. Is he gonna fall out of the top 21? And that is gonna bring out another caution. Because they went head on into the wall, and that is...
look out. Don't hit him.
Yeah,
don't hit him.
It's a generally unsafe racetrack at the moment. Nick Breeding, oh man, we haven't talked about him all day, but making his 3rd start on the season, and not how he wants to bring that number 9 machine home. Breeding Enterprises are trying to find any point that they can, and not a good day for them. We're going to have to take a look and see how that happened. Just tough, tight racing there. And man, Luis Hernandez, who's having a great run, just runs into more trouble, and doesn't look like he got much out of that crash as opposed to the 99 did, or the 9 did, excuse me. Man, heavy impact for that 9. They just went straight on into the wall, and that will bring out caution number 3. I think some guys are still racing back because they took the green, and oh man, Blake Warren.
Big break for Blake.
Yeah, big break after having a cylinder issue or whatever happened earlier on in the race. We're gonna have to get an interview with him later on to see what happened. But yeah, big break for him. Yeah, and that's a lot of cars that with damage that he's going to have an opportunity to pass. And yeah, there he goes. If I was him, I'd put on 4 freshies and I would see what my 88 car can do. But RJ Reynolds, who inherited the lead from Pit Strategy, is benefiting from it greatly now. But man, that 38 like a menace sitting behind that 27 of Tristan Allen. So caution number 3 today. About 15 to go now, and we'll see how many to go once we get back going here. But we're going to take a look at that replay and see what potentially took Nick Breeding out of this race here. Alright, caution number 3 here at the Roval, and there's quite a bit of build-up here. It kind of all started with Connolly getting loose, and then I'm actually not really sure what happened with Luis here, but he gets a little tangled up, and then that just causes a huge stack up. Ash Curtis really getting the crappy end of that. And you see just 3 wide, and they're going to bring that in to the French chicanes here. And that is just not going to work. As you see, Hernandez tags Breeding, and man, Breeding head on into the wall at a pretty decent rate of speed. And yeah, they had to bring the yellow out for that one. They didn't bring it out for the backstretch, I'm just guessing because of the hard racing. And they did get going pretty quickly as opposed to how Jacques Decoq did. But yeah, head-on collision like that into the wall, it would be time to slow the race down a little bit. Getting a little too chaotic and crazy there for the MRC officials' liking. And yeah, caution number 3, pretty vicious stuff there. Alright, looks like we are coming to restart number 3. Not much to report in terms of pit road because absolutely nothing happened there. And RJ Reynolds is going to once again lead them to the green for the 2nd time today for himself. We'll see if he can hang on. Tristan Allen is going to try to gun for it. And man, he's going to send it into turn 1. Does he have the power to stay beside him? No, he does not. As RJ shuts the door in front of that Cheez-It machine. Of course, that would go pretty well with some Amp Energy. I'm sure you could buy both of those at Dollar General with the sponsorship synergy that he is bringing to the table. But, of course, the fast front runners of Figueroa, Testicle, and Sweeney still all up here.
And yeah, it was a nice little chance from Tristan Allen in that restart, because the 69 might have wheel spun. Looked like he got a bit too greedy on the throttle, wheel spun there. Tristan Allen was there to capitalize, but just couldn't quite get the exit speed that he wanted. But a great little chance there, and he's still sitting in that second spot. Not that he was like a sit and duck against the 38, so he's got time. But laps are starting to wind down here now. If you're the 60, if you're RJ Reynolds, you just gotta keep the hammer down, run consistent lap times, and then try to minimize the mistakes. And see Tristan Allen go a little bit wide there, and now behind them, you just see this nice little battle here. Connolly and Skylar Taylor again making note of Taylor's great comeback drive right now. Even if they fall back, it is still overall a net gain for this 15 team.
Yeah, that 15 playing the strategy game absolutely perfect. They didn't start too hot in this race either, so very good run for them today to even get anywhere close to the top 10. This team has been impressing since they've joined the series. They started unsponsored. Toyota saw a little bit of promise in them after they qualified for the 2 races that they started the season with. They haven't DNQ'd any races yet, but they joined the season late, which is pretty impressive considering you have to be above 30th place to guarantee your spot in the main show. So good run for them to get a top 10 today. I mean, they could be locked in that top 30 before long by the end of this season. But RJ Reynolds trying to take off in that Kevshire Racing Tech car. Another single car team like Skylar Taylor and ST Motorsports, doing everything they can to keep that Chevy Camaro ahead of the rest of the field here. Alison Figueroa very hungry though, trying to get first place back.
Just gotta set Tristan Allen up here if you're that 38 car here, oh man, a little bit of a weeble wobble there, but not quite able to get the speed off. Nice little battle here in the mid pack. I saw a couple of side-by-side action though, but as well, they're starting to get real aggressive here. The laps are winding down, time's running out. You gotta get all the track position you can get. But man, if this 38 does not come up with a win, a little bit of a mistake there.
Oh yeah, went a
little
little
breaking
wide.
point a little bit. But
Yep.
you know, you think about it, like just a lot of what ifs out of this. Caution really out of your control though, more or less.
Yeah, for sure. And looking through the field, I was looking for the very easy to spot here car of Seth Cole.
Double Zero's got right side damage. Seth Cole's falling a little bit back though, but I just noticed a little bit of right side to that.
Oh yeah,
That Burger King Toyota.
a little bit of beating and banging from Christian Vargas here today. Of course, one of our more consistent drivers through the halfway point so far. Sitting 4th place in the standings, not too far behind Seth Cole as well. Well, 39 points, I guess. I would say not too far, but that's nearly an entire race gap. But in terms of on the table, not too far from where they're sitting, at least. As Seth Cole, at the moment, 17th position, sitting behind 16th and 15th, so at least keeping a top 20 streak alive as we kind of move the goalpost back for Seth Cole's accomplishments. But he is the points leader. And Alison Figueroa. Oh no!
No!
Oh, and this could
look out!
it's
Oh,
gonna
look
bunch the
out.
field up quite a
Don't
bit.
hit him.
Figure.
There you go. Just gotta get out of the way.
Oh,
Oh,
no,
no.
and they aren't gonna get out of the way, and that
There's
is
a wall.
gonna bring out a caution. Oh, huge trouble.
Oh, Will Hoyt with a lot of damage. 55.
Tristan
got a lot
Wilhoit,
of damage,
AJ
too.
Jones, nearly his teammate being collected as well. Aiden Smith, and Alison Figueroa and Natan Amoyd. Well, Amoyd is gonna make it out just fine, but it looks like Alison Figueroa is going to be out of this one. Huge damage for Tristan Wilhoit for the 2nd race in a row at Charlotte. Not his favorite racetrack for sure after these 2 races. And that is going to once again bunch the field up. And we are going to probably get going with maybe 7 or 8 laps left.
Oh, you got a feel for the 38 team. They
yeah,
dominant
for
car.
sure.
Then this, basically just a whole domino effect of caution. The second half was just been turned on its head more. This race has really just been turned on its head once we got to the second half, right? And man, like I said, they didn't win this race. It's just a lot of what ifs, and it kind of just proved my point just now. Again, I'm a gremlin, not really in Figueroa's control. It's just a freak little instance there, and it just you hate to see it for them. Maybe for everybody else, you're like, well, thank goodness the dominant car is out right now. I can win this race, but you look at it from, you know, as a driver perspective and a team perspective, you're like, man, what a heartbreak.
Yeah, absolutely unfortunate for that 38, and their issue is what brought out this yellow here. So we're gonna take a look and see what exactly happened. Maybe see when that 38 ended up dropping, because I didn't notice it until we just saw it out of the corner of our eye there. And yeah, we'll see what brought out caution. Number 4 here at the road course. Didn't expect that, but we'll see what happened. Alright, so we're taking a look at what brought out caution number 4 here at the Roval. And you see Allison Figueroa just right before they get back onto the oval here once again. Just something happens. It looks like they might have just, I don't know if dropped a cylinder is the right issue here, but something just with that car, just something broke with it. Can't really hear anything, but you know, we'll probably interview the driver afterwards and we'll get a good diagnosis. And of course, Ryan Reed Motorsports as well. Tough break for them, because Allison was looking really good for that team so far and carrying this organization. And unfortunately, just getting in the way, and they did the same thing Skylar Taylor did, pretty much to the T, and that unfortunately blocked the track. Tristan Woolhoit getting a piece of it, and Natana Moedo as well. And then we saw AJ Jones getting a little piece of it also, and yeah, Natana just kind of stuck behind a car and track until we magically teleport him away. And Tristan Woolhoit really getting the worst out of it. Gonna have to chop that nose off for sure. And yeah, just unfortunate all around. It's same for Cody Lamas, the race winner at Charlotte. So not looking too good for some drivers here today at Charlotte at the Roval config, but on we go. We're gonna get restarted here with about 7 laps remaining, and hopefully that gets us to the end of the race okay. And we'll see if RJ Reynolds is able to hang on to this quite the predicament he's put himself in here. Alright, restart number 4, the pit strategy boys of RJ Reynolds and Tristan Allen, as well as Dylan Connolly in 5th. Still running up here with Tess Tickle and Michael Sweeney benefiting from Allison Figueroa's troubles. Let's see if they can capitalize and get the race win. RJ Reynolds leads them to the green.
Oh, not a good start from Tristan Allen, though. He's going to be a sitting duck. Testicles got to run to the inside. Michael Sweeney might follow on suit here. Let's take a look. Real close here, but if you're the 69, you've got to run off into the sunset.
Yeah, for sure. You can't be looking at your rear view mirror at any point now. You just look out the windshield and just put the laps down that you've been putting down earlier. That's now Tess Tickle. Like we mentioned, around this outside is usually where you want to be to set yourself up for the left-handers. And it looks like Sweeney is going to follow Tristan Allen. Valiant effort as he started 35th today. Hell of a run. I mean, that's a W for him today, if any, as you know, the Misfit Motorsports boys, both Tristan and Cam Vanderhorst, having to park those cars, put them behind the garage, and back to the team shop in Canton, Ohio. With this 27, we're going to get some podium hardware in that cabinet, metaphorically speaking.
Yeah, but you already look at the gap between RJ and Testicle. It's a pretty solid gap right now, though. Still a lot of time left if you're the 82, though, but that's a very, very nice gap you won off a restart.
Yeah, that 69 just absolutely took off, and of course that 82 did have to pass Tristan Allen there, and we'll see. I mean, that 82 was keeping pace with Allison Figueroa, arguably the fastest car on the track at that point. So we'll see what he can do. We'll see if he can reel in RJ Reynolds, of course. I mean, if this was maybe earlier, maybe if this was the first restart where Reynolds is up front, he would have more of a chance. But I think the 69, he's had the experience in the clean air now. I think he's just ready to take off and just get to the end of this race. But he has 7 more circuits, including this one that he's on right now, to bring that thing to victory lane. And he's got a very, very hungry Swisher Sweets machine who's looking to smoke him if he gets up to him. He's chasing that green down.
Yeah, wanting to get some extra cash in that check for that purse that you get when you win these kind of races, right? So just got to see the lap times in this. This will really be a good indicator on how fast this 82 is in contrast to that of the 69. There's a nice little battle I just noticed back there. I think Roberto Crown Jr. is going at it against Jock de Cock, right? So let's see how that's going to
Skylar Taylor. Oh man, some beating and banging there. And I thought the 35 was maybe going to go off and spin again like they did earlier. They were the cause of that one yellow, and of course Connolly also kind of the cause of a yellow doing the same exact thing through there. Yeah, all three of those backstretch chicane spinners is in the same shot here. As you see Jacques Decock and Roberto Crown also beating him, banging that 31 muscled that 35 out of the way. And we'll see if Crown can carry the speed through one. I'm not too sure as we keep going to that camera angle on accident over and over.
Still got the nose underneath that of the 35, but the lines, they always consistently invert at a track like these. Just road courses in general, that's just the nature of the left and right-handers in a nutshell here. But looks like Jacques Decock might be able to clear. No, not
but
quite. Actually, great exit speed from Roberto Crown Jr. Look at that.
Yeah, if Crown is on his left going through those corners, there's a good chance that he'll get him through here. And we'll see. Like I mentioned earlier, it's basically the same exact move that Murphy had made. Just setting yourself up to get on the outside, to put yourself on the inside for 2 corners. Well, I guess 3, including this one. Just to get yourself there. And then also through that backstretch chicane. You got to set yourself up for the left-handers here, which, I mean, these drivers are pretty well doing that, you know. All the other corners they've gone through before the track were left.
It's a dead heat for these two, but it looks like I think the
Crown is going to get it.
Good. Great run off. Good drive off.
Yeah, Crown showing why he's one of the most consistent drivers of the series so far. Of course, getting that, getting the win at Darlington earlier this year too, as setting himself up for another top 10. Quick check back up towards the front, and we are within a second for RJ Reynolds and Testicle with 5 laps remaining now. It's just about 6.5 minutes or so, I would say, maybe longer. So that's all the time that Testicle has to gain on RJ Reynolds here. And looks like Tristan Allen and Sweeney kind of being checked out. It's a very good run for Sweeney, though. I mean, he's been up front all day. Haven't really given him much of a nod, but just consistently been in 4th all day, and it's probably where he's going to end up finishing if things continue. But the heat up front, it's been reduced by 0.2 that last lap by.
Yeah, very promising lap if you're Testicle, but you gotta keep putting the pressure down. You just have to hope RJ makes a mistake. Again, this track being so hard to pass, that you saw the earlier battle there. It's just when you're side by side with someone, obviously with it being late, as rhetorical as it sounds, they're not gonna give you that spot up, you know, unless it's like a teammate maybe. But they just gotta keep fighting out of here. Just gotta chip in. Just chip at that gap, just slowly but surely here. Let's see it when they cross the line here. The difference here should be a big gain, at least I would think. But let's see here.
Oh, man, he looked pretty slow.
Really
yeah.
bad corner there.
Yeah, that might have actually cost him. Yeah, down 0.4 now, that last lap by. And I think that little bump over the chicane is what caused him, because he was right there. He was right behind RJ. And now the laps are just ticking down more. It takes a few laps even to get up to him, and then passing him is a whole different game. So, yeah, it's just not a lot of time left for that 82 to give quite a fight there. Got to give another quick shout out to Tristan Allen here. Of course, like we said, starting 35th, all the way up here now, and I believe RJ Reynolds starting 26th, if I look right. Yep.
Yep, 26th. Yep, that's correct.
Yeah, so good run for them. Of course, that was just all strategy. Of course, Testicle and Michael Sweeney just being up here all day. Dylan Connolly, another benefactor of that strategy play. I mean, it really wasn't a strategy play on purpose. It just so happened the caution came out right after they came in. So just a lot of track position gain for them. And now Roberto Crown is going, yeah, he's going to try to make the move here. Yep.
Let's try it again.
If anyone can do it.
Pulled it off before, he's going to do it again. Ooh, nice little move there. Great stuff.
And Jacques Decock not going to complain about that move getting done.
Free spot for him.
Yeah. And that'll move Crown up into the top 5. And if it remains, that would be his second on the season. That would give him his 4th top 10. So very consistent. 4 top 10s to 8 races. That's pretty good. Maybe want a little bit more, but, you know, a race win. Can't really ask too much more of Roberto Crown at the moment. And 69 of RJ Reynolds, just ever increasing his gap.
It's very nice. It's a very nice gap, to be exact, for car number 69. 1.3 seconds, just keeping the gap rather comfortable. I think Testicle is really pushing the limits. Well, obviously, you kind of have to. Kind of have to put hot lap after hot lap after hot lap, essentially. But you know, the consequence of that, you push the tires a little bit too much. If you're the leader, you can kind of nurse them a little bit better than the second place guy, because you don't have as much pressure. Only kind of pressure you have as the leader is, well, just don't screw up, you know?
Right, for sure. And just taking a look at some quick statistics. Of course, this would be RJ Reynolds' best finish with the first place. Can't really finish any better than that, but it would be his first top 20 on the season, as he's finished no better than 22nd on the season. So very, very good improvement for RJ Reynolds. Testicle, this would be I think their second top 10. They got 8th place at Atlanta. So nice little bounce back weeks. Of course, Tristan Allen, I think this would be his second top 10. I might have mentioned that earlier. This actually would be his second top 5, actually. Good run for Mr. Motorsports there.
His only top 10s are his top 5s, you know, which, you know, chain together essentially. So guys like Tristan Allen, like RJ Reynolds sits 41st in the standings. Tristan Allen 44th. So these will be very, 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 very good points days to get the point across, right? A little bit of a gain here from Testicle, though. But looks like the distance is closing a little bit here. But again, you kind of have to worry, though. If he makes a mistake like he did that last corner, right, and previous laps before, that costs so much time here. So 2 laps to go in this race. I think if you're Testicle, you just have to hope that Reynolds makes a real drastic error.
Yeah, it could be somewhere like this corner here. We've seen a couple drivers do it, but I don't know. RJ has been out in front so long.
Real shallow there.
Yeah, maybe a little conservative, just to keep the thing under him. But like we said, he's had that lead for quite some time now. And so real quick, before we get to the final lap, let's see who's got the fastest lap. And
Fitzwater.
Where is Fitzwater right now?
Probably really far
39th.
Down.
So
off the lead lap.
So he is going to steal the fastest lap point. But meanwhile, we are on the lastest lap, and RJ Reynolds has the lead. The leaderboard goes off as the white flag goes up, and RJ Reynolds, we'll see if Testicle has anything to give this 69 machine. I really don't know if they can really gain any substantial amount of time on RJ Reynolds, as we are on the last lap, not only of this race, but on the Cox Sports Networks, as we go to CTESPN after this week. So thank you for joining us for the first 8 races of the season. You'll catch the rest on that network. It'll be on the same YouTube channel, don't you worry. Same canon. Well, yep, RJ Reynolds.
Big gap. Just a big gap, all there is to it. Just all you gotta do, mind the P's and Q's, right? Just get the rhythm established, and pretty much once he was up front, no turning back. Brilliant strategy call. Well-timed caution. Started midfield, essentially. You know, you gotta give props to the team for the strategy call. They took a little gamble, and it paid off.
And coming around NASCAR 3 and 4 into the final 2 turns for Kev Shear Racing Tech. We haven't expected it all season, but RJ Reynolds pulls one out of his hat, and he wins here at the Charlotte Roval in the inaugural Roval 200k. And what a hell of pit stop timing for that 69 team. And just, man, they had the consistency to keep it ahead too. They weren't a slouch by any means. They had the car to win this race, and they proved it with a strategy call here today. Great run for Testicle as well. They were just the bridesmaid all race, never the bride. I don't think they ever had that car at the point, even for a single lap this race, which unfortunate for them that they didn't get the clean air that they could have maybe succeeded with. But great run for Dick Hare Racing. That is going to only help them in the team standings even more, and you get that 82 further up towards the front to support his teammates. Of course, career best finish for Tristan Allen, 3rd place here today. Michael Sweeney, I believe, as well. This is his first top 5 on the season, just ever improving his finishes with a 4th place here today. And Roberto Crown, who ended up making those last minute moves to get himself a P5 here today. Great run for him, his 2nd top 5 on the season. Just pretty great race overall, honestly.
Yeah, the first half started off really slow. It was basically a little bit of a slow burner, right? First half kind of calmed down, right? You had the opening lap instance, but Blake Warden having the issues. But really, the second half, it really amped up. No pun intended there, because, you know, the 69 one with amp energy, essentially, right? So, But, you know, interesting, just a lot of different calls here, a lot of different strategy calls played a big factor here, really. Again, like you said, with RJ Reynolds, it really worked out. A lot of guys that just benefited as a result of that caution coming in. Really, once that caution came out, it was a whole different race from here on out. And then you got to feel, again, mentioning the 38 again, you got to feel for them, right? What could have been, you know, they were 30th coming into this race. They're going to pretty much plummet down. I think it's not really going to tell the tale of where that 38 could have ended up in this race, whether winning or not. Maybe could have had a really good, overall really good points day, but it's just how it is. It's just how the cookie crumbled these kind of tracks, though. Missed opportunity for Nathan Kiani here. Seth Cole had a pretty all-right run, but, you know, didn't have the pace, but sometimes you just need little runs like that, little throwaway runs like that. As long as you're consistent, you don't DNF the car right. Got 15th, though, actually, so really, really good run, actually, here, Seth Cole, despite where it is. Obviously, Crown Jr. sitting 5th in points, had a really good day, though. 44 points behind, should be able to gash down just a little bit here. And we'll just kind of see how these next few rounds will wound up for everybody else.
Yeah, absolutely. Once again, I mean, just great drives to everyone who made that strategy play. And, I mean, RJ Reynolds just able to hang on to it. And he, like I said, he proved that he had the car here today, and he got it done. So congrats to Kevshire Racing Tech for their first win of the season, and that is just another W added to the win column for Chevy, as I am sure they are just loving to see how those points are shaping out for them. As we will take a look at the full results here today from the Charlotte Roval. So we'll take a look at the top 10. We've pretty much mentioned most of those drivers here today. I'll kind of point out a couple notes I've noticed. Gabriel Homo, another great finish for him. That should propel him up in the points table. Cam Wassard, another good run for him as well. One of those drivers who, in terms of making races, he's had a bit of issues with it, at least in the beginning of the season, but once he shows up, he comes to play. And, of course, two of the Alpha Connolly drivers, we mentioned Connolly in that strategy play. The dent in their points isn't as bad as it could have been, I suppose, but I believe Dick Hare Racing will take over the point standings in that regard. 11th on to 20th place, Skylar Taylor, of course. Hell of a strategy play on their part as well. I mean, they pit well before anyone else did, and they made the tires last. I mean, they did get kind of ran over by the end, but they made it work. And I don't know if there's any names that you could point out here, DJ, and see if anything sticks out to you, at least what we're looking at right now.
I already mentioned Seth Cole finishing 15th. Spike Stinson was running pretty solidly, but was sitting third in the points. We'll lose out a couple to Seth Cole finishing in 17th. Daniel Rivera, well-deserved run from 39th to 19th. Very splendid effort here, the 17 crew. Pretty far down points. You're sitting 43rd in points there. Definitely need a little nice little points day like that. Shane Sides clocking at the top 20, looking at 21st on down, right? Let's see here. Vargas had that right side damage, had that damage at one point, was in 4th in points. Probably is going to plummet a little bit here. Luis Hernandez, we talked about him, had the fastest lap for the longest time, and then that whole conundrum down the backstretch and then the incident with Nick Breeding really set him far back. Cody Lamas, you mentioned him being the Charlotte winner, right? Could not capitalize on another weekend at Charlotte, this time with the Roval configuration finishing in 26. Carter Friesen, I remember him running in the top 15, really fell back, whether it was pit calls or just bad track position. It just wasn't meant to be for him. Real tough missed opportunity for the 58 crew there. They were sitting 28th in points coming in. Eric DeMack started plumb last, though. Didn't really gain much out of that. Blake Warren mentioning that, that mechanical failure, right? That kicked him in the rear, essentially. 31st,
dropping
tough break for him.
About 25 positions or so there.
Oh, yeah. And everybody else kind of just, you were back here, you struggled. Nunez.
Of course, our pole sitter, Elson Figueroa. Dropping from 1st to 35th. They led the most laps this race, too. Just barely leading the most laps of this race, but yeah, big heartbreaker for them. Austin Pebbles could have really used a better finish to get them outside of the LCQ zone that they've been occupying for the last couple of weeks. Yeah, as well. Zach Fitzwater stealing the fastest lap away from Luis, who wouldn't have got the point either way, just due to his finishing position. So, probably should have mentioned 1st through 21st in the Road Course Cup, but I forgot myself too, so, brand new little mini championship in the season.
All getting used to it,
Absolutely. And we look at our bottom three. course, Tristan Woolhoit being involved in that caution earlier on, or later on after the Nick Breeding one, I believe so, and the Skylar Taylor, not the Skylar Taylor incident, the one after that one, for whatever reason I can't remember. Oh, Allison Figueroa caused that one.
Yeah, the Figueroa wreck.
Yep. And then Cam Vanderhorst appropriately retiring with a camshaft issue, so I'm sure he could find a little bit of humor in that, but I'm sure the team owner for Misfit Motorsports none too happy with two of his drivers finishing 40th and 42nd position. So, taking a look at our point standings after race number 8, the halfway point of the season for the MRC Cup Series. As you see, Seth Cole has only increased his points lead up to 28 over Nathan Chiani now. Good run for Roberto Crown, moves him up 2 spots to the 3rd spot. Spike Stinson dropping a place, Gabriel Homo gaining a spot. Christian dropping 2, and you can kind of just see the rest on through the table there. Jacques Lecoq, good run for him today. Pretty good consistent string of finishes for him, and that moves him up to 7th. Cody, of course, losing a couple places after his less than optimal performance here today. Move on to page number 2. Blake Warren dropping a couple of positions as well as a cylinder we thought earlier in the race, but he brought that thing back onto the track. 12th through 15th has gained quite a healthy number of spots, as you can see there. The Connolly, Murphy, Sides, and Tickle. And just a little bit of moving and shaking, with the most dramatic being Sweeney, Mitchell, and Max either gaining or losing at least 6 positions each there. Going on to 21st through 30th. Zach Fitzwater, not a pretty good day for him, even though he got the fastest lap at the very end. Just didn't have the all-day performance to capitalize on that, as we see Sustry and everyone else below them there. Barksdale, Hernandez, and Woolhoit having pretty bad days due to incidents that were really not their fault. Maybe Hernandez, debatable on that one. And as we look through the rest of the field, some of the drivers that we see in the LCQ zone, Allison Figueroa really could have had a good race today, and unfortunately just did not. And you see right below them the benefactors of Figueroa not having a good day is Reynolds and Allen, gaining quite a healthy number of spots. So Allen getting a good healthy number of places towards 30th, which would be his first time this season to do that, which would be the first time they'd have 2 Misfit cars locked into the top 30. Hopefully they can rebound with Road America and continue their work there. See some movers and shakers. And not a lot of people in this page made the race here today, besides Breeding and Skylar Taylor, who gained a lot of points here today, but Breeding losing a bit due to that incident. And our final 2, no changes from last week other than just losing a lot more points to everyone else. And with that, we are halfway done with the season. And the next time you will see MRC, it will be the Sargento 200k from, well, I mean, it's the place where they got all the Sargento signs. It's Road America, so that'll be round number 2 of the Road Course Cup and race number 9 of the season. And, of course, the next time you see the race, we're going to have some nice new fancy graphics. That should be pretty neat. Alright, and until next time, join the Discord, like, subscribe, do all that stuff. And we'll see you next time.